from 6 to 9. You're about to have a really good time, and it's sure to make you smile. On the bus, in the car, on the AirPods without wires. Rank it up on the website, it's the Matt and Liam podcast. Matt and Liam podcast.
G'day there, podcaster.
Yeah, welcome to Bad Day to Be Conrad. Pretty fun show today. Obviously, a bit of a different episode. The last sort of show one we had was all about the Queen. This has some Queen stuff in it. Not as much, though, because obviously it's been a couple of days. We've sort of processed that news. Life is getting back to normal. So enjoy that. There's also a bit of royal show chat because Ben went over the weekend. That's a thing that happens in Adelaide, but I'm pretty sure most places have a show.
Every state has a show.
Yeah,
I think in Adelaide,
some have, like, towns have a show.
Yeah, the Gawler show. We should have gone to the Gawler show.
That would have been pretty good.
Because surely that was on and we didn't even realise.
Yeah, like just less crowds and that sort of thing.
So Gawler's like a town outside of Adelaide, probably like depends on which way you go. It's about 40 minutes to 50-minute drive.
Wild, like the life of as we've learnt, not to be called carnies, show people.
Yeah.
Pretty wild life, hey? Like they have. I think the kids get sort of taught on the road.
Yeah.
They have like tutors.
How to swindle and scam their way across the country.
Well, now you're making wild accusations. As we learnt.
Do you reckon for dinner, like mum or dad gets home, like the show person, and they just pour out like candied apples?
Yeah. Well, it's just saying we spoke to one, so he was actually producer Andy. I think
that show person was mucking around. I don't think they actually let him be called show people.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
You're a carny.
Yeah. That's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's just what that's
what you've chosen to do.
Slang.
It's like for me, it's like someone who takes out garbage for a living.
Yeah, and so you get called a garbo, and they're like, "I'm not a garbo, I'm a garbage person."
I don't think someone who takes trash out for a living would be offended by calling them a garbo.
Because
I'm not one, so I don't know, but I don't think they would be. That's slang.
We know like at least 4 that listen to the show.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes I think people doing the bins are like the best listeners for radio because they're up so damn early. There's one guy in Adelaide who listens to our midnight show and he's working all the way through. Here's the replay in 5 with producer Bell and then the live show again and does that like every day.
Yeah. Anyway,
shout out to that guy, by the way.
Enjoy the pod.
'Cause I'm not ready to find out you know how to forget me.
I tell you what, Lewis Capaldi would be kicking himself in the head. The guy hasn't released music in like 3 years, and he thought, it would be a great day, Friday last week. He thought all the marketing was lined up. He had some funny billboards of him and his jocks, and there would have been a huge team of people globally going, this looks like a day where there'll be no news. A nice Friday going into the weekend, and then boom. Obviously, the biggest world event that's happened possibly in our lifetime, the Queen passed away.
Do you think that his marketing team, which he would have a massive one, his label, would at some point have gone, do we pull the song? Like, do we bail on this?
Do we just re-upload it later in the week?
Oh, we do that with posts sometimes if they don't track very well. We just pull it down and repost it later.
After half an hour, Ben and I will text each other. What do you reckon? Take it out to pasture, give it the bullet.
Oh, it's when you think about that though, Friday. It doesn't matter what happened on Friday, it was overshadowed by the Queen's passing.
13/24/10. What got overshadowed by the Queen's passing? I mean, Ukraine beating Russia, apparently. There's reports of that Russia are retreating in parts.
But no one cares. No one's talking about it because of the Queen.
You had an Australian duo, first in 21 years to do this, winning the mixed doubles at the US Open.
I didn't even know that.
No one cares.
The two Aussies won the US Open.
It would have been like on a slow news day. Yeah, woo, Australia, woo, we did it, 21 years. No one's thinking about that. Sam Frost announced a baby. Don't care. Sam Mack, friend of the show, had a baby. Sorry, mate. Bigger fish to fry. There's a woman in Snowtown, in little old Snowtown here in Adelaide. You know what it's famous for. Won $40 million. That is a big story. No one cares because the Queen has passed, which is fair. I mean, she had an incredible life.
Keely joins us now in Hallett Cove. Good morning. What got overshadowed by the Queen's passing?
Morning, Ben and Liam. Well, it was actually my birthday on Friday, and I woke up quite early, as you do, check your phone, see if you've got any nice messages.
Yep.
First one I checked was from Nana, and she said, happy birthday, Keely, overshadowed by the Queen's death.
Oh, she called it early. Nana called it early.
she goes, quite the somber morning. And I kind of didn't really understand what she was talking about. I was like, the weather must be pretty crap or, something.
Yeah.
And then I really looked down in the message. I was like, oh, God, yep.
So,
Died.
did you have Dad forget about it because he was preoccupied with the news? Like, it was a big thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Did anyone sort of just completely forget your birthday?
Well, funny you say that because when I was turning 18 a couple of years ago, my stepmom and my dad decided to get married the day after my 18th birthday. So
This happens all the time.
I was very severely hungover for that one too, but that's okay.
Selfish.
That's all good.
Yeah. Oh, well, sorry, Keely, but thanks for joining us. What got overshadowed by the Queen's passing? Maybe you had some big life news, maybe something exciting happened in your world, but quite frankly, no one cares because everyone is preoccupied.
Yeah, I feel like Friday is kind of like the blast zone, but then I feel like it could have bled into Saturday, Sunday.
Anything that happened on the weekend,
Yeah.
complete write-off. For
Gone.
sure. Narissa from Mawson Lakes, what got overshadowed by the Queen's passing?
My 40th birthday.
Oh, the big
A
4-0.
big one as well. Oh, you didn't have a
Yeah.
party plan, did you?
Not Friday, no, but yeah.
So did you have one
Woke up.
did you have a plan for a party on the Saturday?
Yes.
Did it go ahead?
Yeah, but it was just a small thing anyway with some close friends and stuff. So yeah, me and my toddler woke up on Friday morning and turned the TV on. And like, oh dear, like that's not okay. Poor Queen.
Yeah,
Listen,
poor Queen.
Yeah, no, I think we all share the same sentiment. But of course, there's that twinge of, but what about me?
What about me?
What about my wall posts on Facebook? Crystal in Ridgehaven, what was overshadowed by the sad news of the Queen's passing?
Hi, Ben and Liam. The Luke Combs Australian tour was completely overshadowed.
I
don't know who that is.
I'll level with you, Crystal. Even if the Queen didn't pass away, I wouldn't have seen that Luke Combs was travelling.
So, sorry, is that the country singer?
Yes, he's my absolute favourite.
Yeah. Oh, I think, after, hang on, let's have a listen to this song.
I'm glad you said he's your absolute favourite and not I manage him, because then I would have felt real bad for what I said.
So, sorry, was he here or he announced that he was coming?
He announced he's coming here.
Okay.
All right. Apparently, Conrad Sewell dropped a new song on Friday. Too bad day for Conrad.
Bad day for Conrad.
Bad day to be Conrad.
Swim with the kids or swim with the turtles. Make up for missed holidays and plan your family getaway at whatif.com. What if? It's Aussie for travel.
It's 6:10. Hallelujah, it's 6:10. Good morning to you, Julie. How you doing?
Good morning.
Oh, good. Are you well?
I am.
Good. 'cause
Hi,
you didn't
so I'm good.
You didn't answer when I asked the first time, so I was like, just wanted to make sure before we kick into the quiz, yeah? All right. Well, let's do it.
I get the vibe, Liam, that Julie doesn't really want to talk to you.
Yeah, maybe.
Doesn't want to make brainless small talk.
You're here for the prizes and nothing else. No small talk this morning. That's fair. Chop, chop. I'm getting the message. Well, let's get into it. First question out of 5. The Emmys are on this week, and Aussie actress Sarah Snook could pick up a gong for her role in the show Succession. What Australian city is she from?
Sydney.
Oh, no.
It's a safe bet.
It was, but it's a little closer to home. Jordan from Burton. Do you know where Sarah Snook's from?
That's a hard one. I don't even know.
Who she is, I think it's a tough question for a lot of people.
Well, Succession. It's
Melbourne.
a big show. No. It's, hey, I'll give you the hot tip for the next caller. It's really close to home. It's almost is home. Samuel, do you know which Australian city Sarah Snook's from?
Adelaide.
That's the one.
Hey,
Okay.
we have a lot of free phone lines after that. 13 24 10 is our number if you want to play this morning. We've still got 4 questions to go.
Sam, the trailer for the live-action Little Mermaid film has dropped. What's the name of the crab from that movie?
These are hard.
I don't know that.
These are hard questions.
I'm reading that for the first time, Sam. I don't know that. I know Ursula. I know.
Yeah.
Do you know the crab?
Wouldn't be able to tell you, boys.
Yeah.
Can you, because that's a hard question, I couldn't answer that either. Can you just name me a type of crab that you'd catch in the ocean?
This
Blue
one-
crab.
Yeah, I was going to say
Nice.
that. You should get that. Okay, the singer Sting is coming to Adelaide. Can you name an animal that stings you?
A bee.
Yeah. Happy birthday to RM from the band BTS. 28 today. What country are BTS from?
Australia.
They are not Australian, unfortunately. No, BTS aren't Australian. He's thinking RM Williams. He's thinking the wrong RM.
We have to go back to our first caller, Julie in Findon. Good morning.
South Korea.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, the Cruel Intentions 90s musical arrives in Adelaide this weekend. Can you finish these lyrics?
Well, I know you just don't care. And I said, what about?
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
She said
He's got it. Hey, Julie,
Yeah.
out of interest, I mean, you've won the quiz now, but do you know the name of the crab from The Little Mermaid?
Of course, I've got a child. It's Sebastian.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I would have never in a million years have got that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it.
I just remember The Little Mermaid. There's the big scary mermaid,
Ursula.
Ursula, the octopus.
She wasn't a mermaid. She was an octopus.
Yeah.
And she was purple. So
And half human, wasn't she?
yes, I believe
Human,
so.
Yeah.
human top half.
Bit like the mermaid, half,
Yeah.
half.
And did she become a real girl? Was that the whole point of it?
I think, there's a prince involved. Actually, Julie, you've seen
Yeah,
it.
you've seen it,
What
Julie.
happens in Little Mermaid again?
So Ariel ends up falling in love with Prince Eric, and Ursula gives her a magical power to lose her voice, but she'll get feet. And at the end, she ends up becoming a real proper princess who walks on land because of her dad realizes that she falls in love with Eric, and they get married. And then they have a child.
Does she get her voice back, or?
Yeah, she gets her voice back.
Oh, so she really got her cake and got to eat it as well. She got
Pretty
legs.
much.
She became a queen and she got her voice. So
Wow.
everyone
Pretty
wins,
much.
except for Ursula and Sebastian, who's still a crab.
And loses her best friend. All right, Julie, you get to choose the next song we play. Do you want to hear Liam's song?
Or would you like to hear Ben's?
Pretty similar
That
vibes,
is a
Julie.
tough one, but I'd have to go with I'm Just a Girl.
It's no doubt. Good stuff, Julie. Well, Ben's song is going into its third week of not getting picked now. Always good. Which means I've got to think of some more songs, to be honest. Good morning.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Just a Girl, picked this morning by Julie. That's my song in the 16 quiz, Bam.
Can I plead with everybody listening right now that tomorrow, make sure you tune in, right? 6:10, we do the quiz. It's like clockwork, same time every day, same time in the morning. I need you to come on. I need you to win the quiz. And then I need you to pick my song, Shimmer.
Do you know, I must
It's
admit,
a great song.
Yeah.
And I just think someone needs to choose it so that the world can see how good it is.
I got to admit, when you were like, you even told me the morning of, you're like, I picked a real good one today.
yeah.
And then I was like, Ben's song. And I heard it for the first time and I was like, I really think you like Shimmer more than other people do.
I just don't think... I think
Do you know what I mean?
I think it's... Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as you think it is. Put it that way. And we've now had about 8 people who also think the same way as me.
And look, maybe I'm starting to realise that. Maybe I'm starting to realise
Shimmer regret.
I'm a Shimmer head. And a lot of the world...
What do you reckon?
Yeah.
If it doesn't get up by, should we say Wednesday, we just put a bullet in it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
I give
so
it 2 more
we get
days.
2 more. We get 2 more chances for Shimmer. Okay. So if you're listening, tomorrow is, and you want to hear that song, make sure you call tomorrow for the 16 quiz.
Ben and Liam are in your head.
Hey, Ben, over the next half hour, we're going to cross again to a reporter over in the UK. This guy is really close to the story. I mean, he's been in Downing Street, been in the meetings. What are you laughing at?
You're like a cowboy.
Why?
Some of the things you say, like, you just say stuff. Like, you don't actually look at, like, there's a plan to a show, you know what I mean? Like, we got 3 hours to fill.
Are we not speaking to Vincent McAviney,
Yeah,
the reporter?
yeah, at the end of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
You said the next half an hour.
Well,
you just say stuff.
I say, it's specifically, if you want to get technical, 8:40 he's on. Okay,
No,
so
it's 8:50.
Yeah.
If you look at the sheet,
give or take half an hour.
it's not give or take.
To be honest,
it's
okay. It's part of the biz. You lie to people because if you say in 15 minutes he's going to be on, no one's sticking around for that, are they?
you
in
just
fact,
don't look at the sheet.
to be honest, they're probably tuning out now, going, "Oh, I'm not standing for this." If you really want to know the rundown, there's going to be some ads in a second.
Yeah.
Then Abby's going to be on. We're going to say, oh, Lewis Capaldi's coming up. Then we're going to play two songs, Lewis Capaldi. We're going to come on, do some stuff about the Queen. And then, 20 minutes after that, then that dude's going to be on. And then we're going to come back and do the same thing tomorrow. Okay?
Great.
Obviously, on Friday morning here in Australia, we woke up to the news that Queen Elizabeth II had passed away, 96 years old, served for 70 years. I mean, when she was first Queen, Winston Churchill was in office. She handed the World Cup to Bobby Moore the last time England won it. JFK has been around in that time. She's been there for all of our lives. And obviously, it's a period of mourning, but I think for a lot of people, it's turning into that celebrating a life phase, maybe earlier than it would. She was 96 years old and she did have an incredible life. But Ben, we're about to speak to an Adelaide woman who actually worked with the Queen. Amber Kemp is her name. Morning, Amber.
Good morning.
What kind of work were you doing for the Queen?
I was a housemaid at Buckingham Palace, so it was pretty cool.
So how often would you see the Queen? Very often or not at all?
A little bit. I worked there from October 05 to December 06, so about 14 months. Okay. And I was there for her 80th birthday. But as a housemaid or a cleaner, we tended to be around when they weren't around. But I probably met the Queen 6 or 7 times while I was there.
Hey, that's 6 or 7 more than most, including us. Amber, how do you get a gig like that, being a woman from Adelaide? That seems like an incredible job.
Yeah, I think it's actually easier than most people think. I had a friend when I was, talking to them about my planned trip to London, and they said, I even knew someone that worked at Buckingham Palace as a bit of a throwaway line, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I really wanted to do jobs that were uniquely English and things that I couldn't do in Australia.
Yeah.
And you can't really get more uniquely English than Buckingham Palace, that's for sure.
Sure. So, Amber, what was the Queen like as a boss? Did all the other cleaners and staff, like her?
Yeah, she was lovely. In fact, all the royals were just beautiful people, but the Queen was just a really, really lovely lady. She had a knack at making you feel very comfortable in her presence and was very no fuss. So, I think a lot of her other staff and a lot of people made a big fuss of her, but I think she was a very down-to-earth, unfussed lady, that's for sure.
So what were your royal cleaning duties involving? Were you making the bed? Were you scrubbing the royal toilet? What job? Were you doing everything? I don't understand.
Yeah, all of it, yeah. Wow. So I worked on the Queen and the Duke's suite, so they've got a separate section in Buckingham Palace. Yeah. So, cleaned the toilet, made the bed, vacuum all the carpets, plump cushions, empty bins, all the whole thing. So.
Wow. So you get when you're emptying bins, especially in the bathroom, that's about as private as it gets. Did you get a bit of an insight into what the Queen was like away from the public eye? Did she ever chill out and, have a packet of chips and watch some TV? Were they allowed to do those sort of things when they were just at home relaxing?
Yeah, they certainly had downtime. And I think that was the most surreal moments was when you hear the Queen's voice, which is, so iconic. Everyone knows it the second it starts. Hearing that voice talk about ordinary things like, a crossword clue or watching a quiz show on TV and, yelling out an answer or just talking about something mundane was just so surreal. It's amazing.
I always think that because I've watched the show The Crown like a lot of people. I'm like, I wonder if they watched that, and I wonder if they're like, that didn't happen, or it was worse than that, or if only they knew that, or no, I don't sound like that.
Hey Amber, it's been fascinating chatting to you this morning, and thanks for giving us an insight into what you did for a living and stories about the Queen this morning.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
So damn cool. Obviously, it's nice to hear that sentiment across the board for the Queen as well. By the sounds of things, she was down to earth even in her downtime.
Hope you're having a pod blast with the podcast.
I found myself in the middle of a real life or death emergency situation on Saturday, Liam.
Well, this is one of those scary things. Do you fight? Do you flight? Do you just look? Mm-hmm. Do you shut down?
Freeze is the third one, I believe.
Freeze.
Fight, flight, or freeze.
And what are you? I mean, this is the real question.
Well, we're about to find out. So I went to the Royal Show on Saturday, and I'd gone a couple of days because of work. We had to go there a couple of times for different reasons, and the show was always busy, but it wasn't crazy. On Saturday, when I actually just went for leisure, it was insane.
It's kind of that thing where it's like, oh, well, we were planning on going. This is kind of the last chance. Everyone's got work off. It's probably going to be the busiest day there.
I actually found it uncomfortable. It was so busy. And then I also had so much empathy towards parents. And I was like, or maybe it was even pity, because I was like, I could not imagine trying to walk around this place with a pram. I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't walk around as a grown man. I was that stressed out, let alone pushing a pram around.
Yeah.
It's insane. And so we did all the show things as you do, and the last thing we did was we went to the Showbag Pavilion, and you can imagine in there it was just you couldn't move.
Bedlam. Just pandemonium.
And so you know how it's kind of like a square design, like you walk around a square, and then there's the middle island where the showbags are. They're kind of like the fancy ones, they're kind of like the beauty ones and stuff. And Sam and I were walking around, and Sam was getting a bit overwhelmed, and she said, "You know what? Let's get out of here. It's a bit much." And so we started to walk out of the pavilion, and we heard someone yell, "Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance!" And a woman fainted in the middle, near that middle island part, like right deep in there.
Oh, God.
And the medics couldn't get through because everyone started crowding around her.
That's not what you want.
Yeah.
Just got to give them a bit of space.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking your flight at the moment. Like, knowing you, Ben, I mean, we've been friends for many a year.
Yeah.
You know, even you talking about the crowding around, you're going, there's enough people handling that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go home.
Yep.
Even if that was your mum, you'd probably still go home. You'd go, I don't need to be in this situation.
Yeah. And I was thinking, you know what, this is a great opportunity to go get some hot chips. Because, you know, everyone's crowding around her.
Yeah.
That created an opening to get out of there.
Finally, the world's greatest showbag line died down, and you thought, great. I can swing in there, do all my shopping, get all my showbags. I suppose we don't know, but I really hope she's okay.
Yeah.
If the family's listening.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she was fine.
I'm sure she was fine. I think
they would have paramedics there.
It would have been overwhelmed. Would have felt very flustered.
Yeah.
Fainted.
Yeah.
Like that happens. Producer Belle fainted at work.
That's it.
Remember?
She did. Yeah.
And I also just chose to get some hot chips.
Well, you literally did, actually. I think we went out for lunch because
she had lots of people around her.
There were so many people around the office, like everyone else who wasn't us. And I think your standpoint was there's enough people covering this situation.
Yeah.
And then as we came back from lunch, she was being wheeled into an ambulance. She was also okay. It was just a precautionary thing.
Hey, I was wondering this morning on 13-24-10, where did you faint? Because it happens.
Oh, yeah.
People do faint.
It does. I remember there was, we had like it was a similar deal, like a school fete, like like on the weekend, they might get a ride or a bouncy castle or whatever, and everyone from the school comes. And I remember there was this kid, like this, he was younger than me, he was like in year 7 or something, he was just in the choir. It was like a really hot day, and they had the jumpers on, and he was like, he was having his high note, and like he just literally like looked like he died at the end of his note. It's got a bit too much for him.
I think it was a story you told me, maybe it was someone else. They were on a flight, and it was a husband and wife, and I think it was the husband had issues with altitude.
Yeah.
And every now and then on the flight, every 5 or so minutes, he'd just pass out. And then he'd come to, and then he'd pass out again.
13-24-10, where did you faint?
Erin in Virginia, where did you faint?
I fainted in Harbour Town, shopping with my sisters.
What specific part?
I was actually in bras and things.
Oh, yeah. No, I get a little flustered in there as well myself sometimes. I get close to fainting when I walk past some of the lacier numbers. Brody in Cooler, where'd you faint?
Hey, mate, I fainted at the dawn service at Two Wells.
Oh, no. Because everyone wouldn't know. It's kind of that thing, is it disrespectful to make a noise? What do you do? Do you go over?
So what happened, yeah?
So I went in in the morning. I never went to one before.
Yep.
So I went with my old man and didn't eat or drink nothing. And it was right at the end of it. I just said to Dad, hey, I don't feel too well. And he goes, what do you mean, mate? Like, you look fine. And then, next minute we went to walk off and I just collapsed on the floor.
Oh, my God.
I find that seems like there's something wrong with your body if you wake up and you haven't eaten or drunk in 2 hours. I'm like, Ben and I wake up at 3:50 and we don't eat until at least 9:30, like every morning. And we're pigs.
Thanks, Brody. Cara in Modbury, good morning. Where did you faint?
Morning, guys. I'm a nurse. I actually fainted mid-procedure.
Oh.
Yeah, I was helping a doctor remove an implant, which is like a bar that some women get in their arm.
Yeah.
I hadn't had breakfast that morning and I hit the deck and I woke up to the doctor waking me up. I actually thought it was my mum waking me up in the morning like I'd missed her.
Give her a little kiss.
Yeah, and so I just got up and kept going with the procedure and another day's work.
Geez, Cara, and you would, I would assume an armbar, pretty small procedure.
Yeah.
Some of the things you would have to put up with every day.
You'd be scared if you were the patient, though, wouldn't you? If the nurse has fainted and then she gets up to continue the procedure.
To be fair, I am pretty sure the patient might be out. Actually, for an arm, would you be under for an arm?
No. She was awake. I woke up, said, sorry about that, and kept holding her hand.
I like if they've got that sheet up so they're not allowed to look at it and people are passing out. And everyone's like, no, honestly, it's not that bad. She probably hasn't had breakfast.
Thanks, Cara.
Adelaide stops twice a year for the showdown and then for the other showdown. And now Adelaide's going to stop 4 times a year. For the showdown, the other showdown, the other showdown.
I was thinking about this last week, Liam, when I went to Port Adelaide's first ever home game for the AFL Women's at Adelaide Oval. And it is exciting when you think now we get 2 extra showdowns a year.
Yeah, it's her story in the making. The inaugural AFLW showdown is coming 7:30 Friday, September 30. Tickets on sale now at ticketek.com.au. This is going to be huge. This is, you're definitely a part of something new and exciting at Adelaide Oval. You got, Crows women who've just dominated, over the past few years. Port are this new team.
We're figuring it out.
How are they going to fare? But then again, a showdown's a showdown.
Yeah.
And that sort of game always means more. And of course, you've got Erin Phillips, who's jumped teams.
Yep.
That's a big story there. So there's a lot of people who are going to be very keen. I mean, you went to that first game and it was a sellout at Alberton. There was people being turned away.
People are hungry for footy in this state. Now, Liam, you mentioned a lot of juicy things there.
Yeah.
But Liam and I put our heads together and we were thinking there's one thing missing from the inaugural showdown for the AFL Women's.
It's something for the people who get there a little early.
Yeah.
And we haven't worked out all the finer details, but when we say early, probably really early, away from the main event. But do you remember?
It'll be on the same day.
Remember back in the day, they used to have the slowdown. So you'd sort of go to the game, but then you'd also have Guy Sebastian running out there in a Crows kit. What if we did our own take? A bit of an all-star showdown.
Yeah.
So you've got Adelaide names.
Yep.
You've got I was going to say Hans. He would normally be involved, but he's had an accident recently. I don't know if he'd be back out on the footy field anytime soon.
And the beauty of it is, I'm Port Adelaide and Liam's Crows. So I get to be the Port team, you get to be the Crows team.
We know Jason Momoa, Aquaman. He's a fan of Port. Maybe you could get on the phone to him, say, hey, Momoa, I know you've been Aquaman.
Yeah.
How would you like to play on Adelaide Oval in a Port kit?
Yep.
What's he going to say to that? No.
Yep.
But then we can find someone who lives here and we can ask them.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Leighton Hewitt's a Crows fan.
Leighton.
What are you up to, mate?
What are you doing?
You're not playing anymore.
I heard your son's going well.
Yep.
I mean, did you ever think about playing footy? You were so good at tennis. You won all those Grand Slams.
Yep.
And he'll say no. And then what we'll do is we'll find someone, probably on the news or something like here.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll say yes.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be a lot of people involved in the news on our teams.
Obviously people in this team as well. Everyone going to get a run. I would
Shotgun
like
Bell.
Oh. Is Bell good at footy?
I think she'd get in and under, yeah. She'd be good inside mid.
Abby. Newsreader Abby, turn your microphone on. What's your position?
Well, playing netball, I was always a goalie, so maybe that'll,
Shotgun. She's in the back lines.
Big full back, you reckon? All right.
Gotcha,
All right.
Abby.
So I've got Bell, you've got Abby.
Mm-hmm. Why don't, because I think we do obviously mixed teams. I mean, it is a celebration of women's sport. In fact, if anything, I would like more women than men.
Yep.
And
Shotgun Jane Doyle.
You can't keep shotgunning people. That's not how it works. We got to draft, you got to have a draft picks and there's trades.
You're just upset because you're not shotgunning anyone.
Okay. Shotgun Julian Gillard. I don't know. The most iconic South Australian woman there is, you would say. First Prime Minister.
Yep.
Okay. Well, 13-24-10.
Yep.
You can also call up if you want to get involved. Obviously, we want to have some people who listen to the show.
If you want to play on Adelaide Oval.
Lights on.
Before the first ever, the inaugural AFL Women's Showdown, we need people to fill our teams.
Yep, you can also text in 0400 919 919. This will be awesome. I mean, this is something that very few people get to do, especially when you have an extremely low skill level.
6 p.m, Adelaide Oval on Friday, the 30th of September is when the game is. If you want to play for my team, Port Adelaide, you want to play for Liam's team, the Crows, you can get in touch, 13-24-10, because the draft is officially open and on.
It's Ben and Liam.
Her Majesty the Queen did pass away on Friday. I'm sure by now everybody is well aware of that. And we're also aware that we now have King Charles III, Liam.
Yeah, and Ben, to get us up to speed, we are joined now by Vincent McAviney, our reporter in the UK. Vincent, you're one of the first journalists in the entire world to chat with the King. What happened?
I wouldn't put it as strongly as that, but I was in the receiving line yesterday when he went on a walkabout on Saturday. When he returned from Buckingham Palace, Prince Charles drove halfway down the Mall and then came over and talked to the crowd, asking them where they had come from, thanking them for coming, taking little tributes from them. And I did happen to ask in the crowd, Your Highness, how have today's events been, sir? And he just simply replied, busy, busy. So he was very much wanting to see as many people as possible. There were tens of thousands of people coming out on Saturday. It was absolutely heaving on the Mall, and I think it's only going to get busier over the next couple of days in the centre of London as we progress to this funeral, which will be a week on Monday.
It is pretty wild seeing the news over here in Australia when, you know, it's not just the Queen, it's their mum, it's their grandma who's passed away, and, you know, already they're out there shaking hands and kissing babies, as it were. What's the latest from the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, they are following their mother's example, which was to perform your duty, to remain stoic, to be someone that people look to in times of national difficulty. They did have a quiet period at first at Balmoral, of course, for at least a night before they had to go on these duties. They will have known, though, throughout their entire adult lives that in this circumstance, this was the schedule, the sort of 10-day schedule that would be set out and expected of them. And I think we all know with older relatives, you know, when we're getting close to the end and you start to try to process it, and often it doesn't really hit you until after the funeral's taken place because you've got the sort of funeral to focus on getting to, and then it can often sort of hit you the surprise that they're just no longer there. But the next few days will be fairly busy. The Queen is now in Edinburgh. She will be moved tomorrow on Monday here to a cathedral in the city where she will lie in state and people will be able to process and visit her for the next day. King Charles will also be up there. It'll be open 24 hours a day. There'll be a sentry guard around her and there'll be a queue of tens of thousands of people who have been expected to wait hours, possibly overnight, and they will be allowed in. Then there will be the Queen moved the short distance to Westminster Abbey from the Palace of Westminster, and that state funeral will begin. It is a bank holiday here in the UK. It is likely to be one of the biggest funerals in history and one of the busiest days, if not the busiest day in London's history.
Vincent McAviney joining you this morning on Nova, our UK correspondent.
What are the first impressions you think of King Charles? Because at the moment, there's that viral online video of him snapping at the Aid. How are people receiving King Charles, do you think, Vincent?
It's really hard, even as a journalist, to keep track of what is going on.
Yeah.
There are several moving parts and things. I mean, I feel like in corners of the internet that video did pick up a bit of traction.
Yeah.
But I actually think the vast majority of people watching it, you know, through the TV, through the papers, through things like his big speech on Friday, have been quietly surprised, perhaps, and I think impressed by King Charles III. He is 73 years old, and he is being asked to take on the biggest job of his life, one of the biggest jobs around, with huge levels of public scrutiny. And it's a job he's waited all his life for, but, you know, part of it is the fact that it comes from the passing of his mother.
Yeah, I mean, even him, you know, extending the olive branch to Harry and Meghan was an interesting one over the weekend. Well, Vincent McAviney, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the latest from the UK this morning.
Thanks very much.
The Royal Show here in Adelaide, Liam, is over for another year. But I would love to open the phone lines on 13 24 10 to know how much did you spend at the Royal Show? Because, let's not lie, it's a lot of fun. Everyone loves the show, but it is expensive.
Yeah. I went on a work trip and still managed to pay $80 out of my own pocket just trying to win a soccer ball at one of the side shows.
And they all vary in price. They fluctuate a little bit, but you're looking on average at $10 for one go at a side show, and then you're looking at $15 for a ride. Some of the bigger ones are even more expensive than that. Then not to mention the cost of food. I saw a coffee and a muffin deal for $16.
That ain't a deal. That's a deal. That's a gap. Do I have a deal for you? We're going to make $15 from this.
I was chatting with a friend, and they have 2 kids. Went to the Royal Adelaide Show on a weekday, $700.
$700.
$700.
Are you serious?
Imagine if you had 3 kids or 4 kids. Heck, some families have 5.
Oh my God. $700.
$700.
On what? Did they all get like
you think
4
about
show bags
the
each or
cost of
something?
admission. You got to, if you come from down north or down south from far, you got to pay for petrol.
You got parking.
Then you got to pay for parking as well.
How's those people? You know, there's the big car parks, but then people who live in Wayville, how they're like $100 if you want to park here. You already have a house in Wayville.
It's ridiculous.
Come on.
Then you got to buy food twice because if you spend the whole day there, you're getting at least lunch and then dinner.
Yeah,
then, like
right.
you said, all the rides and the shows on top of that. It's crazy.
So are we trying to find someone who spent more than $700?
Someone who spent more than $700.
Because $700 is, I don't know if many people spent more than that.
Pretty steep.
That's pretty steep. Look, if you spent more than $700, we really want to talk to you. But I suppose when you put it all in perspective, I get what you mean. It's not cheap.
Maybe we can give you a bit of incentive as well. Maybe a Band-Aid to fix the big price tag you've got.
Perhaps a $200 voucher.
Sounds pretty good.
That's pretty good.
All right, 13 24 10 is our number. How much did you spend at the Royal Adelaide show?
Chris in Blakeview went to the show this week.
No, I actually gave my 2 grandchildren $400 each, and I didn't even go.
What are you talking about?
$400 each? What do they do with $400?
They went with my daughter as well, so she would have spent another, say, $500 or $600 on her 2.
Oh
On
my
what?
God!
What would you need?
You're
$400?
You're trying to be like the cool grandma, the cool nanny, aren't you?
They live with me, so I like to spoil them.
Well, that's nice, but I mean, that's a lot of birdie beetles, isn't it?
That's a lot.
Did they spend it all, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's like hard to do.
That's so.
They did bring me a birdie beetle bag home.
Oh, thanks, kids, for bringing me the
Chris,
$1 birdie beetle show bag.
I don't know how to break it to you. That is the cheapest possible bag you can receive.
I'm floored by that.
It's wild.
So we're talking for the 2 kids. They both got $400, so $800.
$800 with a little more sprinkled on the top potentially. Kelly in Elizabeth Downs. How much did you spend at the show?
We spent $12.50.
$12.50?
We won free tickets from you guys.
And you still? So how? Like, well, how many kids you got? What did you spend it on?
We had 3 kids and 3 adults. So yeah.
Whoa! I mean, that's sort of like you're like, yay, we won free tickets to spend $12.50.
What day did you go on, Kelly?
We went on Thursday.
So, I mean, what was the biggest
expense?
Yeah.
The biggest one thing was my son, Manchester United jacket.
A jacket.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. You don't think about that because there is just stuff for sale.
And also,
so if your son sees a jacket that he wants and that's like $250 because it's the show and they've jacked the prices up.
I hate to break it to you, but I'm pretty sure they're the no-brand ones.
They are.
You can get it off like the official website or like
they certainly
go to
are.
Sports Bar and
Did
it'll
you
probably
see,
be like
actually,
3 times cheaper.
I haven't spoken to you about this, but you know Oodie's, the brand Oodie.
Yeah.
The Adelaide brand. They're super
yeah.
famous around the world. Did you see they were selling hoodies, but they were just knockoff hoodies, and they looked like real bad quality. The colour was faded, and they looked really thin. And I saw people buying them, and I was like, they're just knockoffs of an hoodie.
They've literally said hoodie. It's not even a creative name. I bet you the actual hoodie guy who invented them is furious about that.
Amy in Virginia, how much did you spend at the Royal Adelaide show?
Hey guys, I spent $1,500.
$1,500.
Yeah, so it's one of those things of, little bits here and there, and you don't realise until you check the bank account the next day and you go, oh shit.
How many kids you got, Amy?
I got two young boys.
2 young fellas. I mean, you buy them a couple of hoodies, you get them a Dagwood dog. Next thing you know, $1,500.
Look, we could wrap it up. But I feel like there's another caller, and at the moment they're all getting more and more expensive as we go.
Yeah, surely we can't beat $1,500. Caitlin in Kangaroo Island. I mean, if you had to come from Kangaroo Island, that's already a trip in itself. How much did you spend at the show?
$1,000 getting to the show and about $600 at the show.
Oh, because you had to do the ferry.
The ferry, the fuel, the accommodation, the food.
Wow. How old are your kids?
That was my partner and I.
You're just doing that just for you.
Yep.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Do they not
I haven't actually been to the show before.
Oh, really? Your first time? What do you think of it?
A lot of people.
Yeah, was it worth it?
It's like the population of KI 10 times over, all in the same spot.
Oh, Caitlin.
My goodness.
Ben and Liam, it's like dopamine for your ears.
Ben, we are joined now by our producer, Belle.
Where you go over the internet? Twitter.
Instagram.
Welcome to Facebook.
Hey guys, well the trailer has dropped for the Little Mermaid live action movie.
Wish I could be part of that world.
It looks gorgeous. It's coming out in May next year. It will be played, she will be played by Halle Bailey, who's actually a musician in her own right. And fun fact for you, Ursula, the octopus, will be played by Melissa McCarthy.
Really?
Yes.
Checks out. Can I just say as well, goddamn, Ariel's got it going on. Also, do you think that...
Does she?
Yeah. What's her name? Halle Berry.
Halle Bailey.
Halle
like
Bailey.
Halle Berry, but Halle
It does
Bailey.
feel like she's made her name very... So people like watch and go, oh, I thought Halle Berry was in this. Oh, no, it's Halle Bailey.
Yes. So
That's like someone called like Tom Cruise.
Very true.
Nice.
It's the Aldi version. And you can now pay $30 to have an empty seat next to you on a flight.
What?
So, you get on the flight and you think, oh, there's going to roll the dice, no one's going to be next to me, and then somebody comes and squishes you in. Well, now when you book your flight, you can pay an extra $30. Qantas are trialling it with just short economy flights, domestic flights around Australia. It's called Neighbour Free.
I hate that. I'd pay $30 to have someone next to me so I can speak to them. Remember I told you guys last week I was sitting next to a guy who worked in a chicken shop, and I learned all about the chickens and the rotisserie, and there's a lot behind the scenes.
I would pay extreme amounts of money to not sit next to someone like Liam.
I was going to say, you would pay double, wouldn't you, Ben?
Yeah, $100, great, take my money.
And
he does, even on work flights, he moves them so he doesn't have to sit next to me. I'm not actually kidding. Like, people sometimes they're like, oh, I saw you both on a plane, but you weren't next to each other. I'm like, yeah, because he speaks to the attendant and tries to get moved away from me.
And finally, following the passing of the Queen on Friday, everyone has been paying their tributes over the weekend, but a few tributes raised some eyebrows. Specifically, McDonald's around the world, and including the UK, did some kind of weird tributes, including they had their Macca's flag at half-mast, which
I get it with the Australian flag. It's like symbolises the nation is mourning, but like Macca's, do we need a...
Imagine at the Queen's funeral next week if Ronald McDonald turn up.
He's just next to Joe Biden in the front row.
But along with this, they also, when you go into Macca's and there's the ordering screens, the big self-serve screens, big picture of the Queen, but the best one came from this guy.
Ding 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 ding.
On Friday, obviously it was a bit of a sad morning, and I was scrolling through tweets because we were doing a live show and it was all breaking, and the Paddington one actually made me tear up a little bit, and then, there's people like Mick Jagger and Paul McCartney, and then I saw the Crazy Frog. I saw Bing Bing Pick'em Da, sad you passed, and I was like, I could not stop. I was like doing that, trying not to laugh, trying to do a serious segment.
Ben and Liam is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.